Hey everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa. If you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. It is Sunday. Now I have a continuation of yesterday's stuff that I'm going to keep filming today, but I'm going to aim to film a Sunday chat in between all of that because there's a few things that I just wanted to go over. That's the plan. Now, during this particular portion, I'm going to make that apple butter that I've been talking about because I still haven't made it. So the apples are getting more icky spots because I just haven't got to them. And the plan is to make that apple butter. So that's probably what I'll do most of the time while I'm chatting. I don't know what I'm doing for dinner tonight. We will see. But the apple butter is important, so we're going to start with that, and then we can chat about different things. I want to show you my let pot, the hydroponic garden that I got gifted. It's been 2 weeks now, I think it is, and it looks amazing. Actually, we were going to do hamburgers for dinner, and the idea was that I was going to show you some of that, we were going to use some of that lettuce because it's amazing. It's done really, really well. I'm really happy with it, and I think a lot of it is the light. So when I've tried to do some hydroponic seedlings and stuff like that before, we're relying on sunlight, and the sunlight just doesn't run long enough. So with the let pot, it has the ability to set a timer for the lighting, and so I've got the lighting set. It goes on at, I think it's 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. You're supposed to do it for I just nudged a pussycat with my foot. You're supposed to do it for 16 hours. I didn't want to do it for 16 hours because it didn't work quite well just with our routine of where it's sitting. Eventually I'd like it to be out here, but at the moment it's on the back patio, and when I go to bed around about 9 o'clock, so I wanted the light to go off about then. So that's what we've had it set at, and it's amazing. Now we do have lights on a shelf that we use for seedlings and stuff, but I haven't got a timer set up on it, so it was unreliable because we'd turn it on whenever we got around to it, and we'd turn it off whenever we got around to it. And I think that consistent lighting time on the let pot is the main reason that it succeeded, because I've used very similar hydroponic fluids before and all the rest of it, and just never had quite this success. So we were going to try and replicate that as well in a larger scale. That's the only thing, is that let pot, I'm going to show it to you, but it's massive for what it is, but we have hamburgers and we'll probably clean out most of that lettuce that's in there. And that's fine, but I think I'd prefer to have something, maybe I'll grow herbs or something in it, so that it's like things that you only take smaller bits at a time here out in the kitchen, and we still need to figure something out for greens, just because of the quantity that we could eat in a sitting. Like if I was making a proper salad, that whole thing would just be used, sort of thing. So lots of stuff that we're going to go on there. We've had some problems with the solar. I'd imagine you can hear the generator going in the background first thing this morning. It's overcast this morning, and the solar got down really low. So the batteries that we use on our main system are AGM batteries. They're lead acid batteries, and we've had them since we moved out here. So we've had them 8 or 9 years. Now they will give you 5,000 to 15,000 cycles depending on how you treat them. And because we have not always known what we're doing, have not always monitored our batteries very well, and have had to do what we had to do, especially when we first moved out here, we have not treated our batteries very well. So the capacity that they started with when we got them no longer is the capacity that they run. So you can only use 30% of lead acid batteries before it will damage the batteries as well. You're only supposed to use 30%. We actually use a little bit more than that. We use about 40% because we just needed the extra capacity of usage. But again, that's not superbly beneficial for the batteries. You also want to try and get them to 100% every day, and we don't always get them to 100% every day. So anyway, the capacity that they started with, which was about 7 kilowatts of usable power in the bank, has reduced. So what used to, it used to run all our fridges and freezers and everything overnight for the whole night, and we didn't have a problem. It got down to about the 70%, 65%, and we were all good. Lately, it has been getting too low. So this morning, I actually had to print some stuff for Darryl for church, and the printer was enough to knock the power out. So we've got the generator running at the moment because there's not much sunlight, just to kick it up. It's on about 73% at the moment. If I get it up to 80, I will turn the generator off and just see what it does for the evening. for the day, and then we'll turn the generator on again at night if we have to. But fuel is expensive, and it's hard to come by at the moment because of all the panic buying as well. So our local fuel station has actually run out of fuel a few times. So Darryl's got a couple of jerry cans with him today. Hopefully he can fill them, but we shall see. It's a bit of an issue for us because we're quite a distance from a fuel station, so we have to have enough fuel to get to and from, like to get from home to the fuel station before we get the fuel, and then if they don't have any, then we have to have enough to get back and then back again. So yeah, normally I keep the tank topped all the way up. I get Darryl to just top it up every time he goes past, but he hasn't been able to get fuel a couple of times, so we're low on the tank in the car, and we've got none left in jerry cans, only what's in the generator at the moment, so that could cause us some problems. And we'd like to be less reliant on fuel for power anyway, but we still need it for the vehicles because I have to get to work and stuff. So we shall see how things progress with that. It's a little bit scary, I suppose. I don't know that there will be long-term issues. We seem to hit these sort of issues fairly regularly in the last 10 years, where there's something that seems to be a shortage, there's panic buying, we run out because of the panic buying, and then everything, balances out in the end. So hopefully that will happen again this time. We shall see. But I'm not a political person, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it all. More just explaining that we're having a few problems and it could cause some issues, and we will have to see how things go. We run most of our cooking on gas as well, and we use the LPG bottles, the barbecue bottles, the swap and goes mostly, because that's the most cost efficient and easiest for us to do, and we have about 8 of them that we rotate through all of the things. So our hot water runs on gas, the Camp Chef runs on gas, the oven runs on gas, our pizza ovens run on gas. That's it at the moment, I think. So if we don't have the gas bottles, then we lose some of those items, and we could scale down to just hot water on one stove if we need to and things like that to make it last, but I will have to definitely adjust the way I cook if we're going to have a shortage of them for a while. We have purchased wood stoves in the past. We've tried to purchase wood stoves. We have 2 that we have purchased, and both of them have been advertised as working, and neither of them have actually been in condition enough to work straight from the word go. And neither Darryl nor I have the time, the skills, or the inclination at the moment, with everything else that needs doing, to restore wood stoves. So that has been really unfortunate, that we have got them and we've got all the pieces for both of them, but neither of them are actually usable currently. We'll see. The smoker takes pellets. I have to have access to the pellets though, but the smoker takes pellets, and that's fine. I do have a charcoal grill as well, so and I've got a bag of charcoal and things like that. So we'll make do, but it will be challenging if there's issues. So we'll see how we go. For the moment, we're just going to go on like normal, and we'll see if it all comes out in the wash or not. We will be aware, but not panicked. And yeah, I don't know. So anyway, we got the secondary solar. So what I was saying was that the solar has been playing up. So we have a kitchen solar as well that's out in the structure, out in the garden. And nearly all my kitchen stuff goes on that, but so do the kids' computers during the day, which can sometimes be a little bit more than is sustainable on the solar. So we're going to upgrade the batteries out there. We have 4 100 amp hour lithium batteries out there. So we're going to, and it's a 24 volt system. So we're going to upgrade those batteries. We have a couple of 300 amp hour batteries that are sitting in here that we purchased on sale, and we might swap them out for that. And then we just set up a new solar. I'll walk you out there later to show you when I go to the laptop, when I go that side of the house. I want to get these apples started first. I'm just rambling, or I'll insert a picture here or whatever. We got the new solar set up out on the patio, with 4 200 amp hour batteries. It's a 48 volt system. Again, we're looking to upgrade those batteries at some point, but that's what we got on sale. Those were the ones that we got. No, maybe it's the 100 amp hour. One of them that we got like $100 worth of everyday rewards points when we bought them. And one of the others we had like 20% off on an eBay because I have eBay Plus sort of thing. Anyway, they worked out really cost efficient at the time, and I'm glad we did it at the time. We haven't been able to set it up until now though. So Darryl got 12 panels up on the roof for those ones, 2 strings of 6 for this one. It's a 500 volt capacity inverter, so we can put more panels on there if we have more space to put them. But the plan is to set up a third one in that space as well, so that we've got redundancies and things can be partitioned into different sections and we can swap and change as needed. Anyway, I will show you that setup soon, but I'm going to pull the boxes of apples out and we're going to start on those because I want to do this apple butter properly, so it's going to take a while to cook down. That's the other thing. See, if I did it in the pressure cooker again, it would take less time to do, less gas usage. But as I said, I think I'm just going to stick with not worrying about it too much just yet. See what happens, see if Darryl managed to bring home gas bottles and petrol, and then take it from there. So if I can always transfer it into the pressure cooker if I need to, but it just doesn't work quite the same. And even if I did it in the pressure cooker, I still would need to cook it on a pot because you need it open, and so some of that water can evaporate while it's cooking to get it really nice and caramelized. So let me grab my stuff to get started. All right, I'm not gonna peel the apples. All I'm going to do is take the cores out, take any significant marks off, but if it's just surface marks, I'm really not that concerned, because it's just going to cook down. It's, it's not that big a deal. So just rinse them, chop them, and by chopping them, I'm double checking that there's no damage internal either on the apples. And whilst the skin isn't great, this is actually a really nice textured apple. So, and I'm just going to throw it all in a big pot. So I'm just going to go through what I've got. Take off anything that's just significantly marked, cut them all up into chunks. The smaller it is, the quicker it'll break down, soften, cook, whatever you want to call it. So just like that, and get these in the pot. So I'm just going to work through these, and I'll bring you back when I think of anything I want to say, or with the next step. Right, this is what I've ended up with. It's a decent amount. So it's not going to make a huge amount of jars, but we want it in small jars anyway. So I've just put like, a cup and a half of water in here, because what we're going to do is I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to start simmering it. But you don't want it to burn, so that little bit of water helps. Before you're going to have to cook it off, but that little bit of water helps. So put a bit of water in there. I'm going to start this simmering, and once it's simmering, then I'm going to add some sugar. So I'll use coconut sugar because I have it, and then I'll give that nice brown sugar caramelly sensation. I'll probably add some cinnamon to it as well, and maybe some vanilla. Maybe I'll leave the cinnamon out so that it's more neutral. I'll have a decision when I'll have a think about it when I do it. I'll use my potato masher to mash it down a little bit as I go if I need to, or the meat breaker upper thingy. But in the end, I'll probably run it through the Thermomix because I've left the skins on. So I want it really nice and really creamy and smoothie. So it'll need to go on the Thermomix. And then after the Thermomix, it'll need to go back in a pot anyway to cook all the air out of it before it gets in jars. So for the moment, this is going to be a long-winded process. So we've got a cup and a half of water in there. This is a 17-litre pot, I think. And we got about half of it full. We'll probably only get 8 half pints out of this, maybe, which is why I don't do apple butter very often either. But it is something that you can put in a slow cooker as well. Obviously, I can't at the moment. I've ordered one. That was the other thing. I spoke to a bunch of you guys, in the comments. I discussed a slow cooker last video or video before or whatever, and spoke to a bunch of you in the comments, and one of the suggestions was a 7-litre, and now I've forgotten the brand name. Russell Hobbs, I think that's what it was, and Harris Scarf had them on sale. So I ordered a 7 litre Russell Hobbs ceramic inner, because that's what I wanted, slow cooker. It's rated at 140 watts, which means that at the max it's going to draw 140 watts. It probably won't draw that much all the time though, because once it heats up it doesn't need to, especially if it's on warm. And I can always insulate it a little bit if need be, put a cover over it, or take it inside, or whatever needs to be done when it's colder. So you can make apple butter in a slow cooker. I probably wouldn't waste my electricity, though. If we have problems with gas, the electricity is actually going to be our better option, so long as we can maintain the levels that we need with the multiple systems. So we'll see how we go. That slow cooker may become more important. But anyway, I've ordered it. So I got free shipping because I also ordered a new immersion blender. I don't know if you've noticed, but my Kmart one that I use, the little plastic bit that holds it to the top is sliding up and down the thing. One of the seals is gone, and it's really hard to clean now. So I needed a new one of those, so I got a cheap one because I'd really like a Bar Mix brand eventually. For the moment, I'm sticking to cheap ones until I get to the point where I can afford a Bar Mix brand. Rates are due next week, so money is a little lean at the moment because I have to pay rates. I also have to pay this semester's school fees for the kids, so things are just a little bit tight. And we got one of the tool trolleys so far sitting there behind me, and it's not in its last place because until we do the roof and until we figure out where the kitchen's located, this won't be where it finishes. But we got one of them in so that we can start trying to rearrange. We need to get this roof done, get these sorted. I got rid of the barbecue from the corner, so now there's just shelving without the barbecue, but there's still not enough shelving for what we've got. But I have been going through things. So you know how when you accumulate, so I've got a few different steamer pots and most of them are quite small, and I used to do them double layered, and that's fine because that's what suited us when we ate less veggies in a serving or less potato in a serving or whatever. Recently I bought a really big one. I showed it in a shop with me video. I bought it from Harris Scarf actually, because I wanted it to do pork buns and stuff in it because it's really nice and wide. It's stainless steel bottom, it has 2 layers. It's amazing. And the stainless steel pot that is underneath it is quite a good pot too. It's what you'd call like a chef's pot, the shape of it. It works really well. And so I don't use any of my other steamer pots anymore because they're too small for 95% of what I'm doing. And the way that this one is so wide, which is why I wanted it, because I wanted the surface area for like the pork buns and stuff, means that you can even do small amounts in it without too much hassle. So it's the only one I reach for now. Sorry, interrupted by children. So because it's so wide and it's got the shallow water capacity rather than a deeper pan, it works even for small amounts. So I think I'm going to get rid of, to a degree, a lot of my smaller steamer pots, meaning I'll probably box them up somewhere and hold them for a little while just to see whether I need them again or not, but get them off my shelves. So the idea is to minimize the stuff on the shelves that I don't use, because at the moment they just get cluttered and full. I need to find somewhere else to store my canning pots so that it's not on our everyday shelves. Even though I use my canning pots regularly, they're just so large and bulky that they end up taking up so much room on the shelving that everything else ends up on the ground. Now, I have had a couple of comments in the past couple of videos about the dirty factor, and I get it. It comes and goes in waves. It's dirtier at the moment because it's hot. It's been raining on and off, and we rearranged. We moved some shelving out, some buckets out, some things out. The tool trolley that I've got here that we cleaned the top off to use the vacuum sealer on, the bottom 2 shelves still need cleaning, and sometimes that comes in shot and I cringe. This new shelving, the way we've moved the shelving, we've taken stuff off the barbecue that we removed and things like that. It will improve, but it's going to take time. And the process of getting rid of some of the stuff that we don't use is going to help that as well, because there'll be less clutter. Now, in saying that, nearly everything that is stored on those shelves gets washed before it's used anyway, because they're open shelves in our environment. Though if they're stored upside down, the inside of them is generally pretty pristine. It's only the outside that's dirty, and I really don't care about the outside. And hey, I wish I did. I wish I was more inclined to be a clean freak, and that I was more inclined to spend hours getting this place looking pristine, because I'd love to work in a pristine situation, but I'm not. It's really just not my thing. I really just do not have the time or the drive to spend so much time cleaning when I can just clean things as I use them. So my stainless steel bench gets cleaned multiple times a day with sanitizer, as well as clean cloths, tea towels, all that sort of thing. The pots that are used get cleaned before they're used, but the stovetop doesn't always get cleaned because it's a stovetop. None of my food is touching it. The inside of my oven is clean. The drip tray and everything gets cleaned. The racks get cleaned. And everything that gets cooked inside it is in pots that are clean, but the doors are filthy. Some of the stainless steel is like the back of the oven along the top is grimy because there's been fat from things that have been cooked on the cooktop, and then the dust and dirt has settled. And I wipe it down regularly, but it doesn't stop it from being grimy pretty much constantly. Same as my KitchenAid. I wipe anything around the KitchenAid that is potential to drop into the bowl, but it still always looks dirty. The Thermomixes are the same. The Thermomix bowls are clean. The actual white part and arms of the Thermomixes are always dirty. And that is going to annoy someone, lots of people, no matter what I do. And I can't help that it annoys you. If it annoys you that much, just don't watch. Because for me, whilst I dislike it, and I do, I wish things were cleaner, I get over it. Because we've been living this life now for like 8 years. Kavik is now 10 and he was 2 when we moved out. So in June, I think it's 8 years. I think. Maybe it's 9 years in June. I'd have to look that up. And some things just had to be what they are. And that was just the way it is. And you dealt with it and you got over it and you prioritized other things. And for me personally, the dust and dirt is just, and there's spider webs everywhere, is just not my priority as much as I wish it could be. So anyway, we're going to get this cooking. I'll come back. I'm going to do some other stuff for the other video now because I'm continuing on from yesterday while this starts simmering, and I will come back and finish this one. I want to show you the let pot and the solder and all that and anything else. But we're just going to get this going for the moment. This was supposed to be a Sunday only video, a chat video, but I had so much else going on yesterday that I got carried away. And in the end, my oven was in use. We had issues with gas bottles. The seal snapped on a gas bottle, and I made 6 dozen muffins and stuff, which will all come on the next video. So I got carried away and didn't get the Sunday chat finished. So it's Monday morning and I'm finishing my Sunday chat, which was supposed to already be out, but we'll get there. Now it's still raining today, which sucks. You can tell by my hair that it's still raining. I washed it last night and it's just a curly mess today. I will need to go and find a hair tie. But I was lucky I had enough room in the fridge to just put the whole pot of apple butter in the fridge. So I just did that at the end of the day. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to puree it all up in the Thermomix, and then we're going to put it back into a slightly smaller pot. We're going to cook the air out of it, and we're going to get it canned as the end of that, result of what we were trying to get done. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'm going to go and take you and show you the new solar setup and the let pot and stuff, and finish off anything that I wanted to say for this video. And I've already edited the first half of it because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doubling up on saying stuff because it was such a hectic day. So I only need to add this little bit on and then I should be able to get up. So I might just put it up whenever I get it finished. And then the next video will be in a few days, which is all the other cooking stuff that I've done for the last 2 days. I still have a few things I need to get done today, so I'll record it and see how we go. But yes, let's get this apple butter sorted first because I need to get it done. Right, so let's just get this done. So it's got this lovely dark caramelly colour. I haven't added any vanilla yet because I was going to add it once it was cooler. So I reckon I'll get 2 jugs full maybe out of this. It's not going to be a huge amount, as I said, but it's going to be well worth it. So we're going to puree this up, and I might put a thing of vanilla in each one, and then we're going to warm it back up just to a really low simmer, just to simmer the air out of it before we put it in jars. We want this really nice and smooth, which is why we're going to have to cook the air out, because we're going to run it at like 8 probably for like 30 seconds. And that is going to, one of the boys set a pin number on my Thermomix. I don't know why, anyway. Because yeah, this is going to incorporate a lot of air. So we want to make sure that we cook that air out before we can it. I don't have a lid. Here we go. Over here. There we go. All right, that was 20 seconds. Let's have a look at it. Look at that. Lovely and smooth. You can't see any skin or anything in that. And that's what we're going for, is that really smooth texture. I might run it just for that last 10 seconds that I was going to. Give it a bit of a scrape down and run it just that last little bit, just to make sure. Go. Now we're going to put it in this pan. This pan should be big enough to run these 2 jugs full. Nice wide bottom pan is always good because it heats quicker. And then we're just going to pour that in. That looks delicious. A lady in the comments did give me a recipe for an apple butter cake, so I will make that next week when I've done a lot of baking yesterday, so I don't need any more baking today, but I will give that a go as well. So I'll put that aside. I probably could have done with a smaller pot, but I wasn't sure. So, and then we're just going to repeat the process. All right, so I actually ended up with more than I expected, which is really nice. So now I'm just going to let this come to a simmer, cook that air out for 5 minutes while I go and get some jars ready. I think this will work really well for the purpose that we're looking at. All right, I decided these wide mouth 300 ml jars will work well. I like the wide mouth for being able to scoop it out, like being able to use like a quarter cup in it or just a big spoon, things like that. I think the wide mouth works well, but I also just don't have very many half pint mason jars or anything. So I mostly have lug lid jars in this sort of a size range. And I've got these take the 82 ml lids, which are the same size lids as the big 1 litre jars. So it's a nice versatile jar size to have. I like this jar size. It's what I use for my salsa and my pizza sauce and things like that. So I have quite a lot of them. I bought a significant amount from iWoohoo when they had their closing down sales. And I'm glad to have done that. And yeah, they're about a 300 ml, 300 gram jar. So I'm just going to scoop some in there. I'm going to debubble because they'll fit a bit more in each jar, I reckon, than what I'm seeing. So we will debubble, and then it looks like I might need a few more jars. So I wasn't sure how many I'd need. And washing jars is never a highlight. So I did this many to start with, however many I could easily grab off the shelf. And something else we're going to work on is having our shelves set up so that different sized jars and stuff can be stored appropriately with each other, because at the moment all the jars are just stacked miscellaneous. Like every now and again I go through and I restack everything, but the kids are the ones who put the dishes away, so it never stays like that, which is fine. It's just, that's part of having kids who do chores. The chores are never done quite to the standard that I would like them, but at least I'm not doing them. So, you know, there's that. All right, so yes, I'm going to need a few more jars, and I want to debubble these. Let me find something to debubble with. It would be a debubbling stick, but I don't know where mine is. So all I'm going to do is give them a really gentle but firm stir to settle the contents in the jar so that I can see where the actual headspace is. Now this is pretty thick, so I'm going to give sort of a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch headspace, and I'm going to try and take this up in temperature nice and slow because I don't want it to siphon. As it heats, it can bubble up a little bit and impact the seal. So I'm going to top up a few of these jars so they're just above the shoulder, and then I'll grab a few more jars out. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so let's just settle these back again Let me find a few more jars and then we will clean all the rims. As per usual, I'll bring you back. Right, we're just cleaning the rims and threads of the jars and putting lids on. As I said, these are 82 ml lids. So just giving that a good wipe down. Inside of the lid, a quick wipe with the vinegar. They've been stored in bags. They're brand new lids, and I only just opened that bag, so there shouldn't be any dust or anything in it, but quick wipe of the rims, the threads, and then on the inside of the lids. And then these are lug lids, so we want to twist them on with our palms, not just our fingers, nice and firm. So we're going to do that for all these jars. I was just thinking, as we've been talking about reducing things, my jars are the other thing. So I keep every jar that comes into this house because jars are useful and I feel bad throwing them out. But the thing is that I only reach for certain jars. Ball mason jars, because they have interchangeable lids, is because I can buy plastic lids, I can buy pouring lids, I can buy all those sorts of things, so I really enjoy using those. These jars here, because they have an 82 ml lid, so it's really nice and wide, good for scraping things out, I use these jars for a lot of things. The jam jars that I buy purposely from Aldi that also have the 82 ml lid, I love those as well. But I have a lot of miscellaneous jar sizes, and part of that I think is because I used to buy a lot of things in jars, and I don't do that much anymore. Tomato paste is something that I buy in jars all the time. Passata is something I buy in jars all the time. Other than that, there is very few things that I don't make myself now that comes in glass jars with lids. So that's the other thing. I think I've got a lot of jars lying around that I've collected over the years because I haven't wanted to throw them out, and I was using them. But now that I've collated and collected large quantities of the jars I prefer to use, I think I need to let go of some of the older ones because they just clutter up space, get covered in dust and dirt, and I never reach for them. So that's something else that I think is going to be part of the reorganising of the kitchen, is finding if anyone wants any of the jars or just putting them in the recycling and letting go of them, because they are creating more heartache than they are giving. It's a little bit like that, you know, that Marie Kondo stuff that was around ages ago. It doesn't bring me joy or whatever. It's, you know, not quite as esoteric as that, but more that it's creating clutter that I have no use for. So I need to let some of that stuff go that I've held on to because I used to use it all the time, but I just don't use it anymore. So that's the other thing. So there's a little bit of apple butter left in the bottom of the pot. You can't really see it from there. I'm just going to scrape that into a really small jar for the kids to try it, since it's there. I think I'm going to run the steam canner twice. The steam canner can hold 7 of these jars, and it's just nice and quick. And I think just on the stovetop right here, easy done. The other 2 pots are clean at the moment, but the short jars, it's hard to steam can in the pressure canner with these short jars to have enough water in there, but also not covering the jars. And I do have just the small steam canner, so I think I'm just going to use that for this, even if it's 2 batches. It's really quick because it heats up really quick. Just add cold water in between to bring the temperatures back down. This is warm, but it's not boiling, so yeah, I'm just going to do that. Now, apple butter, I'm guessing it's a 15-20 minute canning time. I'm going to have to look it up. But it's basically a jam. So a jam in a half pint would be 10 minutes or 15 minutes for me because I'm over 1,000 feet. These are 300 grams, so these are close. These are above a half pint, under a pint. So I'd can them for pint time, which I believe is 15 minutes, 20 minutes for me above 1,000 feet. I'm going to double check that though. But yes, I'm going to get these in the steam canner, get these canned and out of the way and done. And then I'm going to take you out and show you the solar and the let pot and finish off. So yeah, I think 20 minutes is going to be adequate for these. So I've warmed up the water underneath. It's warm to the touch, the same as the jars. 7 jars can fit in. And then we're going to put the lid on the canner, which is filthy because I just moved it to the top shelf there. It's gross. But again, inside's clean. See? These things we were talking about. It does need a clean. The lid badly needs it's oily, obviously, so dirt has got stuck. See, it's got a bit of a grease factor to it, so I need to use some vinegar and get this cleaned up with a scourer, I would say. Yeah, so I will do that. But regardless, the inside of it's clean, and that's the only thing that matters. And I just clean my thingy so that I can see the temperature. So the steam canner has different spots in it too. It has yellow, which is where it's heating, light green, and then dark green. For my altitude, I need to get to the dark green. So once it hits the dark green, then I will start timing for my 20 minutes. And then I will swap the jars over and we will be done. And I'll give this a clean. All right, so this is the new little solar array that we've got set up at the moment. Well, partially set up. It's almost, done. With the new inverter charger, we've got our combiner box for all the panels that comes up. We've got our PowerPoint wired in and our batteries. Now, this is out on the new patio structure that we built at the front of the house. We've got an awning here because there does get some dripping down the side of the patio at the top there. So we've got an awning so that we're not getting water dripping into the top of the inverter. Now, eventually we will close this in a little bit, have it as a little bit of a cupboard type thing, potentially not closed too much because we don't want to risk the temperature getting too high, but we'll also have the second one set up on this wall here too. We're looking at paving the ground out here. We created a path just in and out of the door, but this has just been a bit of a storage space at the moment, but we will pave it. And the plan is also to put a fence along the front here like we have out on the back patio, with insect screening as well there too. This wall here that goes into the house is all insect screening, so eventually we will have to seal this in a little bit for winter each year and decide how we're going to do that. But for the moment, this is what we've got. This is the new little setup we've got. All right, so this is how the let pot is looking. Now, I did harvest some lettuce for our hamburgers, but some of the kids didn't want lettuce, and there was some left in the fridge from the shopping, so I only harvested bits and pieces. The spring onions did not sprout in the front section, which is fine. Obviously, they were a little too wet or whatever. There was also a couple of lettuce holes that didn't, so this isn't even full. There's the front 3 are empty, and I think there was 2 at the back that didn't sprout either. But I left it to have a look at how we're going. So we've got our salad leaf greens and we've got our little mini cos leaves. So this is great. I've had to I did put 2 litres of water in it yesterday because it was down to minimum line. So I've topped it up once with 2 litres of water, and it will need some more to go in there as well. But this is getting close to its, peak when we'll cut it all off or most of the large leaves off, and then look at starting it again. So I think that this has been wonderful. I think I need to make a bit of a process of perhaps using something else to start some seeds in the similar sort of a situation that they can get popped in. So because by the time I take these out, put the new seeds in, you've got the delay between them. But as I said, it's a bit small for our total use, but at the same time it's pretty neat, and I think herbs or something in it would be really good things that you can grow ongoing for many, many weeks and use bits and pieces of, whereas lettuce, greens and stuff you have to harvest and then start again. I don't know if that really appeals in this kind of a thing, but the actual process, I've done nothing. So I've topped up that water with the 2 litres, I've moved the light up and down up further as the leaves have grown. Other than that, it's on its timer in the app and it just runs. The pump is running at the moment, so the pump aerates the water or the hydroponic liquid every now and again, so it's automatic as well, and it's running at the moment, and it switches on and off as needed throughout the day. And yeah, it has just worked. So if you're looking for something that just is super simple and is just going to work, I definitely recommend this one. This has been great. I've tried a few different things over the years. This one, yeah, it has pretty much just worked straight out of the box and worked perfectly, so highly recommend this one. The fruit trees that are on the patio here as well are suffering some bug damage, some pretty severe bug damage actually. So I've actually got some pyrethrum and stuff coming to try and treat that, but I have been surprised that I haven't really noticed it on any of the lettuce as yet, but because it's all in a fairly enclosed space, I had expected it to transfer to the lettuce as well. But so far it's healthy enough that it's fought it off, and that's part of the thing. By using the hydroponic liquid, by being in the let pot with the proper regulated and everything else, it's super healthy, and healthy plants have less likely to have issues with bugs. Most of these are still in pots that are probably a little bit too small for them. They're watered intermittently and things like that. They really needed to not be on the patio for as long as they have, and part of that is why they've been prone to insect damage, because they're just not as healthy as they could be. So I'm going to spray them all and prune off some dead stuff, and hopefully they'll recover. They've got a few months to recover before it starts getting cold again. We generally get our first frost in May, so we've still got 30-degree temperatures for a while yet. So they've got time to recover in that time as well. And then we're trying to get the garden structure done. But there's been a lot of things that have been a bit of higher priority than that for this period of time. So that's just been put on the back burner a little bit. Other than that, I was going to say, I forgot to mention earlier when I was doing the other stuff, is that I did some brioche rolls and stuff the other day. I was talking to a viewer and about hot cross buns, because I really like hot cross buns. Not necessarily everyone likes them, but I do. But I'm not a huge fan of fruit-based hot cross buns. And I was thinking that my light brioche roll recipe, or the one that I use for the Squirrels and stuff, would probably work really well for hot cross buns. So we're going to do that probably next week. We will do that. And I might think up a few flavours. So let me know what your favourite hot cross bun flavours are that aren't fruit based, like fruit as in like raisins and sultanas and stuff. I'm just not a fan of that, and most of the kids aren't either. But we have done ones like raspberry white chocolate and things like that, which is a pretty common theme for fruit based stuff that I do. But if you have any that you do that you really like, let me know. And we might do some of those batches of the brioche dough and then split it up into multiple different flavors for the hot cross buns. I noticed that Coles or Woolies or whatever had like Ice Vovo flavoured ones this year too. I did notice that. I tried to get a packet when I was in Brisbane, but they didn't have any in stock. And I won't be back in Brisbane until after Easter, so I'm not going to be able to try any of the fancy flavours that are in the shops because I'm not doing the next shopping until after Easter. So if you think of any of the flavours, let me know and I'll have a go at trying to do some of them, because I do love hot cross buns. Any sort of sweet bready product is always nice. So we will do those next week at some point. Other than that, I don't have any real set plans for videos or anything in the near future. We're just going to keep on doing what we're doing, which is basically my weekly prep and sort out and figure it out. I did start a what we eat in a week today, because I haven't done one of them for quite a while. So we'll see how we go with that though, because I have a tendency to just get in and cook a meal and forget to film it. So I will try and film some meals for the next week and see what we're doing, and show you might take some phone photos of the lunches as I eat them, because people were interested in that. And at the moment I haven't really figured out the best way to do it. I'm still doing those freezer pods and stuff, but at the moment it's been delayed a little bit because it's all underneath all the meat and chicken that we just got in the freezer. So I haven't even had a chance to try and defrost any of them for lunches yet. So that's on the cards as well. I did some green curry and some coconut rice, some risotto, some meatballs, I think, and the tomato sauce and things like that. But I haven't had a chance to try reheating any of them or eating any of them, because they're all now buried under all the half a cow and all the chicken. So that's something else that I need to continue to do, and will be more relevant in winter anyway, because I tend to eat cold meals at lunch at the moment rather than hot ones because of the heat. As we get the solar, so we've got that new solar going, we've got another system to set up as well, and as we get that going and move more stuff off my kitchen solar, it's going to give me the opportunity to use the kitchen solar for things too. So the theory is that I'll be able to use the air fryer and things like that to heat certain things up, which might make it easier to have more variety for lunch and stuff too, and be able to heat it up rather than just having stuff cold. So we will see how we go with that too. I'll bring you along like normal. But that is everything so far for this week, I think. And I will finish up there and keep going with all the other stuff that I'm doing, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.